and Julie moved to Lagos 3 years ago, eager to explore the opportunities the bustling city offers. Despite missing their parents back in Enugu, they quickly adapted to their new life, finding comfort in each other's company. Sandra, the older sister, worked as a receptionist in a bottling company, while Julie ran a boutique from home, leveraging social media to promote her business. Their days began early, with Sandra preparing for work and Julie planning her day's social media posts and deliveries. Sandra enjoyed her job, finding fulfillment in interacting with colleagues, while Julie, on the other hand, loved the creativity and freedom her boutique business offered. She spent hours curating unique fashion pieces, photographing them, and engaging with her online followers. Despite their busy schedules, the sisters always made time to catch up at the end of the day. They would sit at their small balcony, overlooking the busy streets of Lagos, sharing their stories about their day. Today was crazy, Sandra said, kicking off her shoes and collapsing on the couch. We had inspectors come, and everybody was busy trying to put things together. It was really crazy. Julie laughed, handing her a glass of cold water. I had a bit of drama too. One of my customers couldn't decide between two dresses and ended up buying both. I guess that's good for the business. They both laughed. Evenings were the time to unwind and plan their next adventure. They often discussed their plans for the weekend, from exploring new restaurants to visiting art galleries. They cherished this moment, knowing how precious it was to have each other in the city far from home. Despite the joy and excitement, there were also tough times. Sometimes there won't be enough money, and they had to stretch their finances to cover rent, utilities, and food. Yet, they never failed to send a portion of their earning back to their parents in Enugu. Do you think we'll ever have enough to save? Julie asked one night as they were counting their expenses. We will, Sandra replied confidently. We just need to stay focused and keep working hard. Things will get better. The sisters found solace in their bond, weathering every storm together. They celebrated their small victories, like Julie reaching a new milestone of followers on social media or Sandra receiving praises from her boss. These moments kept them motivated and hopeful for the future. One weekend, they decided to have a picnic at a nearby park. They packed a basket with sandwich, fruit, and drinks and spent the day enjoying the fresh air and each other's company. This is nice, Sandra said, lying back and looking at the sky. We should do this more often. Definitely, Julia agreed, taking a bite of her sandwich. It's good to take a break from the hustle and bustle. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, and they learned to navigate the ups and downs of life in Lagos together. They were more than just sisters. They were best friends and confidants, supporting each other through thick and thin. Julie's boutique was gaining popularity thanks to her consistent efforts on social media. She had a knack for selecting stylish pieces that resonated with her audiences. One sunny afternoon, she decided to personally deliver a few orders to a customer. As she navigated through the estate, she admired the well kept and elegant houses. She rang the doorbell of her customer's house, and the door was answered by a tall, handsome man with a warm smile. Good afternoon. I am Julie from Julie's Boutique. I'm here to deliver your order, she said, holding up a beautifully wrapped package. Oh, yes, I've been looking forward to this. I'm Eric, by the way, exchanging a hand. As they exchanged pleasantries, Julie noticed how easy it was to talk to Eric. He was charming and seemed genuinely interested in her business. They chatted for a while about fashion and the growth of her business. Before she left, Eric asked if they could see again to talk about business. Sure, that sounds nice, Julie replied, a bit surprised by the sudden invitation but intrigued nevertheless. Over the next few weeks, Julie and Eric's casual meetings turned into more frequent hangouts. They visited art galleries, attended local concerts, and explored new restaurants together. Eric was attentive and always made her feel special. He introduced her to his friends and even offered to help her with the technical aspect of her online store. One evening, after a particularly delightful dinner date, he held her hands, his face serious. Julie, I really like you. I haven't felt this way about anyone in a long time. Would you please give me the honor of being my girlfriend? He asked, his eyes filled with sincerity. Julie was taken aback by his straightforwardness, but also touched by his honesty. She had grown to find him very funny and enjoyed his company. Yes, Eric, I would love to be your girlfriend, she replied, her heart fluttering with excitement. Eric smiled and gave her a warm hug. I promise you, Julie, I'll give you all the love you deserve in this world. Julie smiled. Their relationship blossomed quickly. They spent a lot of time together, and Eric became a significant part of Julie's life. However, like any other relationship, they faced their challenges. They had their share of disagreements, but they always managed to work things out. Julie was happy because Eric made her feel special and loved. He provided for her all her needs and often had access to his things, including his ATM card. Eric noticed his girlfriend loved material things and he never hesitated to gift her every month and sometimes, if given bonus at work or gets money from his freelance graphic designs, he buys her gift without waiting till the end of the month. Sandra noticed the changes in her sister. Julie seemed happier, more vibrant, and always wears new things and nice things that seemed expensive. One evening, as they sat down for their usual chat, Julie couldn't contain her excitement and she had to tell her sister about her boyfriend. Sandra, I have something to tell you. I met someone, his name is Eric, and he's super amazing, Julie gushed. Wow, that's great. When did you meet this guy? Sandra asked. That was about 3 months ago, Julie replied. 3 months ago? And you're just telling me this now? I thought we don't keep things from each other, Sandra asked, clearly surprised. Julie smiled apologetically. I know, sis, I'm sorry I kept it from you. The thing is, after what happened to you in your last relationship, I needed to be sure that this one is actually real. You know, when we thought you had found Mr. Right, it turned out that it was a big mistake. I just wanted to be sure before telling you. Julie explained. So you're certain about this? Sandra asked. Yes, sis, he loves me so much, he makes me feel special and comfortable, Julie said. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you're happy. That's what matters. So those beautiful things and expensive things I see you wear, hey, it is his doings, right? Sandra teased. Julie laughed. Yes, sis, and he also promised to do more. Good for you, Sandra said. But Julie, let me just tell you, I know you. I know how you love material things. Don't chase this one away with your demands, though. Julie laughed. Sis, it's not like that now, she said. Seriously, Julie, you need to understand when he has and when he doesn't. Understanding is very important in relationship. Hope I've made myself clear, Sandra asked. Yes, sis, I know that already, Julie replied. One weekend, Julie visited Eric's house unannounced and found a strange woman sitting in his living room. Who are you? Julie asked. Good day, ma, the young lady answered. Keep your greetings to yourself. I said, who are you, you slut? Julie yelled. The lady stood up. I won't have you insult me for no reason. Julie was angered by her response and slapped the lady. Just immediately, Eric came downstairs. What is wrong with you, Julie? Why would you slap my guest? Eric asked angrily. You better start talking, Eric, Julie said, ignoring his questions. Eric turned to his guest, who was really angry. I'm so sorry, Helen. Really sorry. Can I have the file, sir? I'll be leaving now. Helen replied. Eric handed over the files to her as she left. He felt so embarrassed by his girlfriend's action. Eric, who is that lady you're cheating on me with? Julie asked. Really? Is that how little you trust me? Cheating on you? Have I given you a reason to doubt my love? That lady you saw is my boss's secretary. She came to collect a file from me. I'm so disappointed in you, he said and went to his room. Julie's expression changed. She felt so sorry and went to his room to apologize for accusing him of cheating and slapping Helen. Eric ignored her, but she kept pleading for forgiveness, which he eventually granted. Eric asked her to apologize to Helen when he calls her, which she did. The following day was a Sunday. They spent it together, loved up. Eric, as usual, got her a gift. And that night was their movie night. One particular week, Eric was granted leave by his company. He was happy that he would have enough rest from work and spend quality time with his girlfriend. As they were together one cool afternoon, Julie showed Eric one dress she saw online that she really liked. Eric, I saw this gorgeous dress online and I really want it. It's a bit expensive, but it worth it, Julie said, feeling so excited. Eric replied, Julie, we've talked about this. I told you I'm not boxed up right now. I can afford to buy this for you. I had a major investment which I told you about. Julie's expression changed. Her excitement turned into frustration. You always say this, Eric. It's like you don't even try anymore. Look at your friends. Look how they spoiled their girlfriend. Why can't you do the same? Richard got his girlfriend an iPhone 15 last week. What of Charles? Charles got his girlfriend a car. A car just yesterday. And you're telling me this just because of a dress. Eric felt a pang of hurt at her words. Julie, it's not about trying. It's about what I can realistically afford. If I had, I would give. It won't be a problem. And please, I don't like it when you compare me to my friends. You need to stop this. You do this all the time. The argument escalated quickly, with Julie raining insults and comparison at Eric. She accused him of being stingy and not caring about her happiness. Eric, feeling disrespected and unappreciated, tried to explain his side, but Julie won't listen. Maybe you're not just cut out for this relationship, Julie snapped. You're always making excuses, silly excuses, and I'm tired of them all. That's enough, Julie, Eric said firmly, his voice trembling with anger. I've had enough of your demands and insults. I care about you, but I can't kill myself or steal to give you what you want. I can't be in a relationship where I am constantly belittled and compared to others. You're always doing this, and this isn't healthy for either of us. Julie was taken aback by Eric's sudden reaction. I expected this from you. Why would you deny me of things? Why you keep spending on other girls? Eric felt hot, exhausted, insulted. What is a relationship without trust and understanding? Eric asked. At this point, I've had enough. We need to take a break, Julie. Maybe sometimes apart will help us see things clearly. Julie left Eric's house that night, her heart heavy with anger. Eric didn't call that night and Julie didn't call either. They were all still angry with each other's actions. Over the next few days, she started staying at home more frequently, expecting Eric's call, but none came. Sandra noticed the changes in her sister's routine and grew concerned. Julie, is everything okay? You haven't been going out much lately. Sandra asked one evening as they sat on the couch. Julie sighed, her eyes swollen with tears. Eric and I broke up. We had a misunderstanding and he broke up with me. I know he's seeing someone else the moment he stopped attending to my needs. He just needed an excuse to break up with me. Anyways, I don't care. Sandra hugged her sister tightly and said, I'm sorry, Julie. Maybe this time apart will help people to realize what's important. And you care. Accept that. I know you love Eric and you're hurting. Why don't you call him? Sandra said, I can't call Eric. I can't call him. If Eric cannot call me, then he should go to hell, Julie replied. Days passed and Julie tried to focus on her business. The breakup weighed heavily on her mind. She regretted how things had ended but didn't know how to fix it. Eric, on the other hand, tried to forget about Julie. One evening, on Sandra's way back home, she decided to stop by a supermarket to pick a few things. As she queued to wait for her turn to make payment, she noticed a man in front of her struggling with his wallet at the checkout. Excuse me, miss. Could you hold my place in the line for a moment? She asked, looking a bit embarrassed. Of course, Sandra replied, smiling. He went out to his car to get his card, came back to the line and thanked Sandra. When it was her turn to pay, the same man stepped up and offered to cover her bills. You don't have to, Sandra said, surprised. I want to. Consider it a thank you for holding my place, he said. I'm Eric, by the way. Sandra, nice to meet you, she replied, shaking his hands. They chatted briefly outside the mall before parting ways. A few days later, she ran into him again, this time at the restaurant near her workplace. Hey, Sandra! Nice meeting you here again, Eric greeted. Hi, Eric, she replied with a smile. They decided to sit down and have their lunch together. As they talked, Sandra found herself enjoying Eric's company. He was intelligent, funny, and seemed genuinely interested in getting to know her. Their meeting became a regular thing, always meeting at the restaurants to have lunch together, and over time, Sandra began to develop feelings for Eric. It made her feel cherished and valued, something she had experienced in a long time. Eric was always considerate, remembering the little details about her life and surprising her with thoughtful gestures. One weekend, Eric invited Sandra to his place for dinner. As they sat in his living room, he opened up about his past relationship. My last relationship was a bit of a disaster. My ex was very inconsiderate and condescending. It was exhausting trying to keep up, so we had to call it a quit, Eric confessed. That sounds tough. I can imagine how you felt. Sorry about that. It's important to find someone who values you for who you are and not what you can provide, Sandra said sympathetically. Exactly. And that's why I appreciate you so much, Sandra. You're genuine, kind, and this past few days with you have been so beautiful, Eric said with his voice filled with emotions. Sandra was touched by his words. She felt a deep connection with Eric and hoped for something special. They hung out regularly, especially during weekends. Sandra was beginning to fill her head with thoughts of Eric. One evening, after work, Eric went to her place of work to pick her. She felt so special and wondered why Eric was being so sweet to her. She wanted to know what it was all about and asked, Eric, you've been so nice to me and sweet to me at the same time. You literally treat me like I'm yours and it's giving me ideas in my head. I really want to know what we are doing. This is becoming so much, she confessed. Eric looked into her eyes, his expression serious. Sandra, you're right. I literally think about you all the time. I really like you and I love spending time with you. Trust me, I care about you a lot, but I want to take things slowly. I need you to know that I like you and I'll always be here for you, Eric said. Sandra took a deep breath and asked, so I want to understand things clearly. That means we are friends and open to relationships. Eric panicked. No, we are not. I mean, Sandra, I want you. Like, I really do want you a lot. Sandra became confused. Eric, you're not being straightforward. I need us to define what we have because I have no idea. Eric took a deep breath and summoned the courage to talk. Sandra, would you please be my girlfriend? I've always wanted to ask you this, but I was scared of being rejected. I have grown to love you, Sandra. Your morals, they scare me a lot to confess my feelings verbally. That's why I'd rather show it and wait for the perfect time I would have the balls to tell you how much I love you and I want you to be my girlfriend. Sandra looked surprised, her mouth wide open in wonders. Eric, why would you think I would reject you? And what is it about my morals? You're a nice guy and I like you, Sandra said. About what she said, I'll be your girlfriend, Sandra replied. Eric was happy. He gave her a big hug and drove her to her house, promising to always love her with all his heart. That evening, they chatted all through and fell asleep on it. The following days were beautiful. They had lots of fun wherever they go to. They did things together, they explored a lot of things together. Particularly, they never missed praying together every morning and night on the phone, which Sandra inculcated in Eric. Eric became more intentional and now called the prayer section and even reminded her to pray whenever she comes back from work tired. Sandra and Eric's love grew stronger and stronger every passing day. Sandra decided to tell her sister about the good news of the man who had captured her heart. She told Julie about the Prince Charming she met who captured her heart and she would get to know him soon. She spilled no details about him, telling her it's a surprise. One particular day, Sandra invited Eric to her house. He was excited to come know where she stays, and when he got to her apartment, Julie, who was in the kitchen, went to see who was at the door. To her surprise, it was Eric. Eric, what are you doing here? Julie asked, her voice with a mixture of shock and confusion. Julie, you live here? Eric replied, equally surprised. Sandra walked into them. Oh, Eric, you're here. Have a seat. Eric, this is my kid sister, Julie. Julie, this is. I know him. Julie interrupted. He's my ex. The cheat I told you about. What? Sandra was shocked. He's the same Eric you dated? She asked. Eric was speechless. The room felt silent as the realization hit them. The man she had grown to love was the same man her sister once dated. Get out, Julie said to Eric with an angry voice. Eric began to plead to Sandra. Sandra, please don't get this the wrong way. Julie shouted at him again to leave. He left feeling so heartbroken. Julie faced her sister and said, You can't date my ex, Sandra. It's wrong. Just wrong. Julie said to Sandra. I never knew he was your ex, Sandra replied. Now you know. End whatever it is you have with him immediately, Julie requested. Things aren't done that way, Julie. I can't shut him out just immediately. You know what? I need to clear my head right now. This is too much for me to handle. Sandra walked out and went to her room, her heart pounding. She was caught between her love for Eric and her loyalty to her sister. Days that passed in the house was nothing short of arguments and quarrels. Julie accused Sandra of betraying her, going behind her back to date her ex. Their once happy and supportive relationship was now overshadowed by conflict and pains, leaving them both to question what the future held for their sisterhood and their love lives. During those days, Eric tried reaching out to Sandra through calls, messages, chats, but none was granted. She totally ignored him, and her absence really affected Eric. He wasn't paying attention to his work at the office, he drank himself to stupor, he cried every night, praying to God not to lose Sandra. On a Saturday, Sandra had a word with her sister in her room. She pleaded with her sister not to allow a man tear them apart. Instead, Julie replied, calling her sister a betrayal. Sandra struggled to hold back her tears and replied, I had no idea, Julie. Eric never mentioned you by name, and I didn't put two and two together until now. I'm so sorry. I never knew he was the same Eric you dated. I really didn't mean to hurt you, Julie. Julie calmed herself, noticing she was hurting her sister. I feel so sad, Sandra. I know you didn't know, but it still hurts. It's just so hard to accept. Seeing you with him brings back memories. I thought we would resolve our differences and come back together. But unfortunately, he moved on so fast, and I'm here hoping we could still be together because I still love him. Sister, please, you need to make things work between us. I still want Eric. Sandra was mad. Julie, what are you saying? What do you mean you haven't gotten over him yet? You told me yourself that he cheated on you and you wouldn't want to be with a cheat, which were all lies. I love you, Julie, but I won't do anything that will make me regret at the end. I am sorry if you feel betrayed. If I had known he was the same Eric, things would have been different. Julie, I can't fight you because of this. Please understand and don't make things difficult. Eric clearly have moved on. You need to do the same. In as much as I love you so much, my love for Eric is not for sale. That particular conversation weighed heavily on Julie. She cried and cried the whole day, and that evening, she went to Eric's house to ask for forgiveness and for a second chance to be together. He clearly told her that he loves her sister and no one else. He asked that she doesn't come in their way, that what he had in the past remains in the past, that he loves Sandra and what he feels for her is real. Dilly left his house feeling heartbroken and betrayed. Days turned into weeks, and the tension between the sisters slowly began to ease. Julie started accepting the fact that she and Eric were never meant to be. And Sandra, after staying apart from Eric for months, paid him a surprise visit and they settled the things between them, promising to be with each other until the end. One evening, Julie decided to have a heart-to-heart talk with her sister Sandra. She accepted her wrongs and asked her sister for forgiveness for being insensitive. She told her sister that she had realized that she and Eric were never meant to be, and when she went to meet him for a second chance, he spoke about her like his life depended on her, which made her realize that she had no place in his life. Sandra hugged her sister, and both sisters were sorry for hurting themselves. That evening, Sandra called Eric to visit the house. He did, and they all resolved everything amicably. Julie apologized for all she did, and Eric forgave her. Days passed, and Sandra and Eric love blossomed. With Julie's help, Eric planned a surprise engagement for Sandra. Thank you so very much, guys, for watching. Hope you enjoyed the story. Please do also like, share, and subscribe to Substance TV for more amazing stories. See you guys in my next video. Until then, stay splendid.